in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Let's just go ahead and do the highway reports.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
So sweet.
So too short. Yes.
That's usual, yeah.
Give the guy an extra day and he works another one.
Sir. Okay, I've got a couple of items to remove from inventory. Both of them are on the bridge crew. We've got an XR7 paint sprayer, number 988, that was bought all the way back in 2003, valued at $497. It locked up, but it's unrepairable, so it's going to junk. And we'll need to remove it from inventory. The second item is a 2017 DeWalt Hammer Grill, B52 BJJ, valued at $299. It was lost off of the truck when they pulled off the job a couple of weeks ago. I did direct them that I think this is the second item that we've lost here in just some sort of recent span. So directed everybody to do a thorough walkthrough around the vehicles prior to driving off, because a lost item is not going to be guaranteed to be replaced or happen very swiftly. So got to learn a lesson from that.
So to replace it would be about $300 still, or was $299 the original value?
I'm not sure what that thing would cost right now, probably around $400 or so.
Well, things happen, I suppose. Anybody have any questions, problems on that?
Nope.
The paint sprayer, any value? I don't know what it's made of or how big it is, anything like that. No value, just gonna throw it away. It's a trash item. I'll move that we approve the disposal of the XR7 paint sprayer.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried.
Next up, Lunch and Learn. This is going to be held Friday, September 8th at the fairgrounds. Breakfast will be served following a program titled Self-Care. So, don't know if y'all are interested or.
You on a wellness committee?
Amen.
Did you have a wellness meeting recently? You never.
We had one, I couldn't go because I was with you guys. Yeah, we just had one recently.
Yeah, we had, she came out to the garage, yeah.
Okay, I was just curious if there were any updates on that. Are you on the wellness committee?
I was up there, the last one.
We had to be here or something.
Yeah.
We had a different meeting.
Okay, next item, rejuvenation process or progress. Schnellville Road beginning at Santine Road all the way to State Road 64, including the town of Schnellville, has been treated along with County Road 1025 East from State Road 64 all the way to 164. Work will begin today on Division Road. They're going to travel from the Jasper city limits and go west to our pavement section on 600 West. Then they're going to be working on the Jasper DuBois Road from Steinbottom to State Road 545, and then follow up later this week on Holland Road East from US 231 to State Road 161, and then do our portion to Kentucky Street in Holland.
Is this product something, crack sealing, right, is when you would put stuff down, you heat it up and fill holes, right, or you fill cracks, and is this like a crack seal for the whole road? I mean, is that a soft, one way of looking at it, or is this something different than that?
Basically what it is, it's a chemical that gets absorbed into the asphalt, which is supposed to, well, it does, it softens the top 3/8 of an inch, so it becomes plastic as the roads, as they get traffic on it, as the sun beats down on it, they get brittle and you start to get a lot of cracks. So what this does is kind of buys us some time and makes the surface a little more plastic, so it kind of freezes the cracking process.
Still happy with the product?
So it makes it soft and seals, basically, right?
Correct.
One other thing before four, I believe, Sandy, I believe that $95,000 appropriation for the truck is being advertised this week, okay. And then, last thing is our things lined up, for that surgery on the 17th, so, my hope is to be back in early November. I do plan on being here on the next meeting on the 16th, so, that's just kind of where we're at.
All right, best of luck.
Anything?
No, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
First, need to check.
All right, one thing, I guess, I don't know if a promotion has to be made, but I'm scheduled to go to the council to request additional appropriation. Oops, I forgot to change that number. It's only 91,000, not 120,000. Into highway reimbursement and contractual services at the King Bridge, appropriated, so 21,000 is for an asphalt overlay on bridge number 30, Coon-Size Bridge, County Road 300 North. You guys have drove over top of that, but the deck has got just a little bit of a belly, a half inch, but it's just enough to get your load to drop, and then you bounce over, and then the road approach has dropped. So you're going down, and you up, and you go down again, so it's kind of real bad. If you're pulling a trailer, it sucks. So we're gonna mill on the concrete and kind of level everything out. We're hoping that'll get rid of that second belly so you don't hit so hard. So that's the reason for that. And then $50,000 for polymetric bridge thin overlays. So we have 4 bridges in the county, they're listed below, that the decks they're okay, but again, the hairline fractures that Steve was talking about, the asphalt, the concrete's got it. We just put a thin polymer overlay over the top of it. It'll seal it off, keep those things a lot longer, extend their life. So we're gonna try it on these 4 bridges here. I did some research, I talked to some consulting firms. They all recommend it's probably the quickest, easiest thing to do.
So they're concrete bridges, but you're gonna put asphalt over the top.
No, polymer. It's like plastic. It's a concrete floor, like we did in the shop in our break room.
Mhm.
It's that on steroids. Same process. It'll have sand in it, it'll have some grit to it, so it's not slippery, but it'll seal it off. And then $20,000 for bridge highway department reimbursements. So that's all the pipes that we lay. Cume Bridge reimburses for the pipes that we put in and out.
What's going on at 400 North? The blue pipes on the north side of the road? It's, I assume it's Jasper.
Must be where
You take a left on 47th Street, right across from the trailer park.
that's the
I
same.
didn't know if you guys knew
I
what
don't- I don't.
work that was being done or
No, I
what.
don't. I know that they're extending a water line out there, but that's all. Is it blue plastic
Yeah, I
pipes?
mean, it's a,
Yeah, that's the water line. It's probably, I don't know the exact details, but it's a water line going in.
Getting ready for that TIF area out there.
I would expect,
I would have thought they'd done that far along, but I just thought maybe you guys would be in the know.
No.
And that 300 North Bridge, which side of, or which portion of 300 North is that on?
From Kellerville east, so you go Kellerville Road, go east, and then it's in that curve. It's a Toker Bridge.
Got it.
So it's not nicknamed Coon-Size Bridge. And then is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Sorry. So,
Go ahead.
Arthur Balmer, area.
Yep.
Owner.
go past it. Yeah. Okay.
I just wanted to make sure I knew which one you were talking.
The last thing is, so, Bridge 54, Santa Road West. Bridge deck was poured on Friday. We're gonna wait till Thursday before we tear off forms, so that way that concrete can properly cure out. We don't wanna pull on too early. then the goal is to have that thing open by the beginning of next week. So hopefully Monday or Tuesday of next week, that thing can be open and drove across. Thursday, they should wreck forms. Friday, adding rock and hopefully guardrail, just depending on how the day goes. Shouldn't be much. That thing's almost done. You guys got anything for me?
Nope. If you wanted to add it yourself or have somebody else give us a little 3 sentences of that is the work is done, and we put it on our Facebook page. that might be good.
Okay, yep. Whenever it's open, we will have that.
We usually post when it's closing, but
Yep.
so we can give the public information.
Yes, I will do that.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you.
Don, you have anything? Nope.
I have a few updates to share. First one I'll share is with the monument. I asked about emailed Sam offering about that. I thought the public might be interested too. So today, he's going in front of his Eagle Scout board for final review of his project and get final approval. There shouldn't be any issues with that. He's been in communication with the VFW. He's working on fundraising, because there'll be some definite costs involved with this. They're doing some metal framework design. It's not like it's a solid piece of stone. It's as a frame, and they put the black on the outside of it. So he's working with some metal fabricators on that. He's working on some final design issues. The thing is, I don't know if he's doing all of this on his own or if his dad's helping him, but this is more professional than 98% of the adults I work with. The response that I got, the speed that I got it, so this is very impressive for, even if his dad is helping
He's
with it.
quite the young man.
It's very impressive, so I would say
Quite the young man.
kudos to these people and a very, very detailed response. And they're doing measurements, they're working with Scott. I don't know if they work with Brent at all. Have they worked with you, called you on anything at this point, but I think they said they're going to. So, yeah, they've got a safety plan for the work, all kinds of good things. So it's still moving forward, but I guess we're kind of on hold until today to get some final approval. But yeah, they're doing a heck of a job so far. Hopefully it continues to turn out. Sandy, you had something on the credit card use policy. We started that discussion back in May, but I think you have
Well,
a draft.
I sent out a draft, but you made changes, so I didn't know where we were on that.
Greg, do you have any comments?
So you had asked, I think, on number 6, I had it pulled up here. If in the event someone were to lose a receipt, the policy as originally written allowed them to basically create a paper trail themselves and turn that in. Concerned that might add some unnecessary exposure to the county. I didn't want to delete that sentence simply because the charge has already been made. So I've added in there maybe that, however, without a receipt, the county may determine that the purchase is in violation of this policy. And like we do in other sections, that cost can be deducted from that employee's wages. I can't create a receipt necessarily if it's lost.
Sometimes people have to go back to the hotel and get another receipt because they either lost or didn't get it or whatever,
Right.
or they didn't get an itemized one, so sometimes that's how.
Right, from the hotel, I think would be easy enough again, but if we're not buying food, those are the things I think would get lost more easily.
Right.
A hotel will typically email it to you also. So I just added language in there that the county would reserve the right. Basically, if I turn in my scribblings here and I say, Sandy, here's what I used the card for, you say, no, that's not gonna fly. Then we could treat that as a violation of the policy and deduct it from my wages.
How do the two of you feel? Do you want it to have wiggle room like that, or do you want to say if you lost it, tough, you don't get reimbursed?
Problem is, it's on the credit card, so we have to pay it.
Right, they don't get reimbursed.
Well, they wouldn't get reimbursed, it's ours.
It's already ours.
That's the problem with saying that if you don't bring me a receipt,
It's already on the county credit card.
so that employee's not getting reimbursed anyways. Because the expense has already been.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I was,
So I need a way to recapture it.
Right, that's why we're saying you gotta give us something.
That's it. Maybe I was looking at it, maybe I was reading it wrong. Okay, the employee in possession of the credit card is responsible for receiving, printing, and retaining all receipts related to the purchase made by the county credit card. If a receipt is lost, a written description of the item and cost of the purchase must be maintained and submitted in the same manner in which a receipt would be maintained and submitted. Okay, so that makes
So I left that the
sense.
same, but then I added this yellow portion.
And so, so that does make sense, but yeah, I want to make sure that they are aware that you're not getting off the hook.
You may still be subject to violation of policy because, you know, we look at it later and you told me you spent it out of Hampton Inn. I got a charge here for the gap.
Or the steakhouse.
Now, they do have to sign off that they've read this policy, so.
However, without a receipt, the county may determine that the purchase is in violation of this policy and the loss and the cost of such purchase may be, in advance on future wages payable. Any remaining balance will be deducted from pay steps like that.
The only thing Marky made a comment was, if we are gonna take some out of somebody's paycheck, we need to let them know.
So are you okay with, you two okay with number 6 there has the
Yep.
correct change? Okay, and then what other ones we had here?
You had a question about personal versus non-personal.
Yes, what's that?
So again, it could be a business expense, as an example, like Sandy maybe pointed out in an email too, that I use it for fuel, but, well, that's also personal use technically.
I shouldn't be using it for fuel, but
Right,
they grabbed the wrong credit card out of,
correct.
but then they gotta reimburse.
I can combine basically that, without thinking of, I'm not good at brainstorming at the moment, a non-personal purchase, that would be a business purchase, but it's not allowed by this policy. They bought copy paper, I don't know. We're not allowed to use it for that, we're only allowed to use it for hotels or certain things of that
I
nature.
guess that language of personal, non-personal seems irrelevant to me. And I'm happy to be wrong, it just seems like
It's just,
if it's a non.
it's a purchase in violation of the policy, whether it's personal or not personal, it's a violation. Okay.
Did either of you have any changes to the policy?
Nope.
Do you want to send, I guess you'll send an updated one?
And make those changes and I can have Marky print it. You wanna still talk about it here towards the end of the meeting? Or you want it by next one?
I'd like to talk about it at the next meeting.
No problem.
Again, this is something I just want to, it doesn't seem like a huge deal, but I want to review it, make sure that I don't want us to have any problem. So I think I just like to read it in my own time instead of rushing through it. So Dogwood, nobody's heard from them, so I'll just give them a call from what we talked about last time. Is that correct? You still people
Yeah.
reply that you haven't heard anything from them. So I'll give that person a call. All right, let's talk about interlocal agreements. Sean Warner's here.
Morning, Sean, Du Bois County Health Department. Couple items, what do you want to do, the interlocal agreement first? And then positions, no difference.
I just,
Interlocal agreements for.
Okay,
I just brought 2 copies, I didn't know what you had.
yeah, I've got one here too, if they need it. So basically, IDOH normally did our lead risk assessments for us. They're kind of on the phase out stage, so once they no longer do it, we'll have to have either a licensed lead risk assessor at the health department, or we can have an agreement with another department that has a lead risk assessor. We have so few cases in Du Bois County that we've never had one or had the need to do it. We might run into one of these every 1 to 2 years. So it was of our opinion, it would be better for us to just have an agreement with another county that has a lead risk assessor to do our assessments. Vanderbilt County agreed to sign the interlocal agreement if we do need their services, and I think you do have a copy of it. So basically, it looks like they would just charge us $100 an hour if we need this service done. We did reach out to a couple other county health departments. Knox had one, I believe, and he said he really didn't have time for it, so this is kind of really our only option for Southern Indiana. Right now, the state will continue to do them for, could be a couple months, could be a year, depending on how much staff or how much time they have, but eventually down the road, it's going to be, we're going to have Vanderbilt County, if we sign this, do it, or we would have to send one of our nurses for training. And we try to get the dollar amount of what the training would cost, and we've not been able to nail that down yet, but I would say it's going to be a lot of time and money to get that done.
Can you tell me the extent of what that service would be? If you need to use Vanderbilt County, what will they do in total?
So if a child tests high for lead, then we have to go into the home and do a risk assessment. So I don't know what a lead risk assessment all entails, but basically they go in and look at the paint and the conditions the kids living in to make sure that they can identify sources of lead, and if there is, then the remediation has to happen after that. So basically, he would be the licensed individual going in and do the assessment, and then we would give them recommendations. They would have to probably hire a company or do it themselves to clean it up, and then probably go in and do a final inspection.
So they look at it, they say what the problem is, and it gets remediated, hopefully. So that could be time consuming.
Yeah, generally, it's going to take a few hours or a day to do the initial, I would say. Like I said, I have never done one, so I don't know for sure what they entail, but it's a pretty detailed process to
And
go.
how does this get paid for?
We would probably use HFI funding.
And it's $1,000 and it's every other year. It's not the end of the world, and it'll help a family out. I'm okay with signing the document. It makes more sense. When you said this originally, I was thinking, oh, that's a lot of money if this is one a week, but if once a year.
I mean, if it gets to the point where we start doing one week, then I would say we're probably gonna go down the road of getting our own. But right now, we do it every 3 years. It just doesn't make sense to put all the money now into getting somebody trained to do it.
You're required to provide the service.
We have to have it.
Anybody have any questions for Sean? I'll move that we sign the interlocal agreement related to the lead situation in Hanford County.
Sorry.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, motion carries.
All right, second on the agenda would be, so as this new year comes, we're continuing to build out our HFI funding. So as you know, it's a 2-year cycle. So the first year we received around $407,000. This year we're going to receive $853,000. So we're continuing to build that services out, and with that, it's probably going to come more positions. So our pre-3 program we started last year. It's a maternal child health program to do home visits for pregnant women and children to try to teach those parenting skills up to the age of 3, do screenings and different things to help them have their best outcome for that child's life. So right now we're already on a waiting list, which is a good thing. People are taking advantage of it, but we need additional staffing to be able to accept more patients. So in this year's budget, we had put in for a full-time nurse and then 2 part-time community health workers. So those are the 2 positions I'm going to be asking for today to create. The nursing position, we already have the job description because Mariah is already our nurse in there, and it'll be the exact same description as her position. I think that's going to be pad 4, I think. Pad 4. And then the 2 part-time positions is kind of where I need your guys' expertise on. So the 2 community health workers currently are COMOT 3. And I talked to Marky and Sandy, and they said typically if you go with a part-time, they drop down a scale. But this is a little bit of a different situation, so I wanted your guys' opinion. So to become a community health worker, it's rather expensive for us to get that done because they have to go through multiple trainings. Just to become the community health worker, it costs us about $6,000 to get them trained for whatever they need to do these visits. So the COMOT 2, the highest range would be $19.47. I'm not 100% sure that we'll be able to find 2 part-time community health workers willing to do it for that and then wanting to stay for that rate. So every time I lose one, it's going to cost me $12,000 because I put 6 into this one and I have to replace it with 6. So I'm open for discussion or whatever you guys.
So what does COMOT 3 have a top tier of? Say what?
$25.60. And in the budget, we put $22.80 is what we paid it, because that would be less than what we're paying our current ones, but it would still be competitive with the market.
What does part-time look like for these people?
It would be 4 days a week, so 28 hours a week.
So on this, on the first one, that is a nursing position, you said? And
It would be.
you have funding that pays for both their salary and their benefits?
So we have the salary built in and then also FICA perk insurance built into this grant.
What do you have that you're paying for the insurance? What is that portion?
What we put in 50,000, was it 125? It's all told up here, so I can't tell exactly.
I guess what I was getting at is, I
It's
want
not
to
gonna be 122, I know that.
So
what we need to do whenever we create these new positions is pay the full amount. Yeah, like it's $21,000 this year per employee, and I would assume you probably didn't flag it that much.
it's like 50, I think we put in 15,125 is what we normally put in.
Is there any way to amend your budget?
I have to
Or
try
how does
to
it work?
figure, I see how much we have left in that line item. It's already been submitted to the state because that was already due June 1st, I believe.
And this will be with the change of guard of the state. Let's say they kill this program, you at least have it in place for just one more year, so 25?
So this is for 2025, and so that'll get us through the end of 2025, 2026. They'll let us know what our amount is. If they keep it the same, if they up it, if they lower it, then we would have to resubmit our budget, and we'll have to resubmit this every single year depending on what they change it. But I would hope that the state would figure in for raises and a little bit of increase, but I can't guarantee that.
What you ever do for him?
I'd be okay with supporting, if we do these one at a time, I would, I'm fine with doing the full-time position. The county will leave the additional healthcare cost, the health insurance cost. And then next year, the requirement would be to put it in the budget to pay the full amount of approximately $21,000. Anybody have any problem with that? I mean, the state's giving him the funding, so we need to fund positions to do the work to improve the health outcomes, and that's the whole idea, right?
Yeah, and pre-3 program, like I said, kind of waiting list right now. We have about 34 patients, people waiting to get on services, and we just don't have the staff to do it. So that's the reason why we need another nurse and 2 community health workers.
What level of nursing are they? Are they RNs or?
Yeah, they're all right. So
And you're comfortable with the amount of money that you budgeted will get a staff person that will do this work? Okay, so I guess for the minutes, I would say, I'll move that we approve the creation of the full-time nursing position at a PAT 4. And the position will be created and allowed until such time funding is not available through HFI.
Second.
Any other comments or questions? Anything else from?
Pat 4.
it'd be the same as my other nurses, the RN immunizations.
And will only be available when funding is available?
Right, until, as long as the HFI, what is it, Healthy Families Indiana or something?
Health First Indiana.
So, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. So now we have the question of 2 part-time community health workers. The ones on staff currently are Comont Breeze, something, but they're full-time.
They're full-time, yes.
And these would be part-time, so the question is, do we put them as Comont 2, as we do with some part-time people, or do we put them as Comont 3 to keep them in range of the other individuals? I would say that these are professional positions that have a professional skill set. I would think that his argument makes sense that let's find a way to pay the people a little more, hopefully have a better potential of retention at $2 more an hour, $3 more an hour instead of, they'd have to work a whole year and a half to recover that training dollars if we turn somebody over. So
They would be doing the exact same training, the exact same position. It's just gonna be 4 days a week instead of 5. And the reason we did that is because I can get 8 days of work rather than 5 if I do one full-time, because it's about the same cost, but I don't have to pay insurance benefits. So we're gonna try this route. If I can't find anybody to work, 4 days a week part-time for that salary, no benefits, then, we could always drop back and hire one full-time. But I would have to come back and get that approved, obviously, but if I just absolutely can't find anybody to work, then that would be my other option. But I figured I can get 3 extra days for about the same cost without having to pay insurance and benefits.
And if we hire the people and in 6 months they're doing well, I wouldn't mind moving them to the same pay scale as the full-time people. If they're doing the same work and they're the same education, the same
I have
training.
budgeted a little bit less just because I didn't want to bring them in, higher or the same as what the full-time ones are, but down the road in the next budget, it's possible we could raise them.
Yes, absolutely. Comments, Commissioners?
No, I thought that was better.
Mr. Stefano, anything?
No, definitely. Thank you
Okay,
for that.
so Mr. Rhodes, he's asking for 2 part-time folks. He wants to request as a COMA level 3. Do you have any issues with this?
I know we discussed it last week a little bit. It will break the mold of our typical tradition we do. I mean, looking at the security center, the jailers, community corrections, the correctional officers. Put them in perspective, they're doing a lot of the same work, and they are one level down. As long as all of our other part-timers, this would be totally going away from our normal trends and practice if we would do COMA 3 instead of COMA 2.
For the definitions of what those 2 roles are, what is the significant difference between them on paper? Not specific to these positions, but I don't know if you have that with your.
No, I don't have that with me.
And that's the reason I brought it up, is he had said it's not the typical norm, and I didn't want to buck the system, but I at least wanted to, bring it to your guys' attention of what you guys thought was right.
I just think that we'll have one of my officers doing the same thing as the full-time officer, the part-time officer doing the same thing. I think we're gonna have, that conversation's gonna be brought up if we go to COMA 3, but if you guys are okay with that conversation, then, I just be prepared for it, because it's probably the end of the lab. Because now we're doing the argument of, my part-timers are doing the same thing with my full-time staff.
One thing about these is he's not gonna pay them the same range. I mean, they'll be in the same range, but he won't be paying them the same salary or the same hourly rate.
But like Mark said, if they're to come on 2, they're gonna be making $3 less an hour, which is pretty significant. And
Sure.
saying they're all of them are probably gonna come and say, I wanna move my part-time to one stage up, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. I'm fine either way, but,
If let's say we say no and it's a COMA 2, then you're gonna be tasked with finding 4-year,
4 day a week, 28 hours
I'm saying 4-year education, so I have to get an RN, so 4 years
No, the
Well,
community
these are
health,
community health.
community health workers will not be RNs, they can be, high school or, college, there's no
Okay,
minimum requirement, yeah.
I was, my mind was mixed up, I apologize. What's the board think, Commissioner Stefano?
I don't know. I don't, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Commissioner Ofsted?
I see the challenge, but, I don't like the idea of bucking the trend.
I know, that's why.
And originally I did also believe that they have to be an RN, and I was thinking, well, due to the education, maybe it's a little different situation, but, yeah, I don't know. I think I would probably steer towards not doing it.
Part of me feels for them, but I understand how the job market is, and you're gonna have a challenge, finding people. But I would say, I guess after hearing what everybody says, I would say keep it at Cobart 2, pay them at the max level. If you try to interview people, you're getting nobody back, come back in 2 weeks, and we say, all right, and then we'll reevaluate, I guess. But that's where I would say. Anybody wanna argue that?
I think that's fair.
So that'll be what we are with that, stick with the 2 for the time being. And but the position still need created.
Yes, I guess going to treat both of them, and if I can't find anybody, then I can either
Then we'll modify the 3.
come back to
Somebody
full
out
time.
there wants to work 4 days.
Do what?
There might be somebody out there who wants to work just 4 days a week. If it's a little more flexible than 5.
Okay, so I'm move that we create the 2 part-time community health worker positions at the Comont 2 level, to work 28 hours per week, pending continuation of funding from HFI.
Second.
Any other discussion?
These are HFI as well.
Yes.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Anything else, Mr. Warner?
Yeah, one last thing, surplus items, you want to do those now or?
Yes, we'll do now.
So I sent out an email, we had that farmer's table that is no longer needed at Health Farm, it's just a big wooden table that's in our way, we need the space. So I sent it out to all county departments, nobody has claimed it, so I need to dispose of it, and I don't know how you want me to do that. No county office want it, and typically what we did in some past, like the jail, just put it all out on the street, let people take it, or county employees take it.
So what we'll do is we'll declare it surplus and you get rid of it to the best, in the manner you see best for the county.
I did have one individual respond and said they would take it if no county office wanted, so I do have a place for it to go. I just wanted to make sure that that was okay with the commissioners.
Which one was that one you're talking about?
Conference
Conference
table.
table.
And then I also have a video conferencing equipment that was purchased in 2011, so it's far obsolete, has absolutely no value. Not even sure if it works anymore. With Zoom and Teams, there's just no need for this type of equipment anymore. The only downfall was it was a pretty expensive purchase with preparedness funds. It was over the $5,000 threshold for the state limit, which is considered, I guess, reportable to them. I emailed them to let them know that we were wanting to get rid of it, and they have not come back to me yet. But if you guys can declare that surplus, and then once I hear from them what I need to do with it, then I'll just dispose of that as well.
What is the nature of the item? A camera, microphone, and a screen?
Camera, microphone, and there's a big black box hanging on the wall that was the brains of the operation. I really don't know how it works.
You haven't used it in a decade?
No. We used it when we first purchased it, but once Zoom and Teams and all that came along, made this equipment obsolete. It's just been in the conference room hanging on the wall since. We just never took it down.
I see no issue with eliminating both of these items, either of you?
Nope.
So I'll move that Mr. Warner that we declare these items surplus to be disposed of by Mr. Warner in whatever fashion he finds most beneficial with county.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Looks like we have Mr. Madden in attendance. You have a request to report?
Yep.
I have this, but I need a copy before I get, I have two, one for them.
White Madden, Director of Community Corrections, here today to request a position created for a part-time administrative assistant to job shadow our current administrative assistant. She's gonna be moving away and leaving her position sometime in November, so I'd like to hire somebody. I believe the next council meeting is the 23rd, so it would be effective on the 24th. So job shadow, 28 hours a week, part-time, for about a month and a half.
Okay, so this will be a temporary job.
Mhm.
Have you talked to Mr. Rhodes about any of this?
I have not.
Okay, so whenever we're done here, go. Actually, Mr. Schneider, would you mind grabbing Mr. Rhodes one more time, just to make sure there's nothing else he needs to?
We can do that.
That way we'll have HR involved, so we can find out about any issues now instead of later. Thank you for coming back in. I'd just like, if it has to deal with hiring somebody or creating a position, you should be into this. So there's been a request to hire a temporary administrative assistant as the current administrative assistant is leaving employment in November. And so this person would shadow that person for a month and a half.
Probably approximately 5 payrolls.
So, do you have any issue with this? Or anything that he needs to be aware of, or we do before we create the
It
position?
would just be a temporary or?
Temporary part-time, yeah,
Okay,
about 28 hours a week.
okay.
I think it's, since at least, Mr. Oscar, I think it's at least the last 6 or 7 years, we've started allowing people to do this. It seems like it makes sense to, with somebody with a high level of skill, we want to bring in somebody part-time to learn the job before, so instead of just learning to scratch.
Makes sense. Sure.
So I think it's, when I talked to him, it sounded like a good idea. But we get to figure out how to
And
do
this
it.
person, likely assume the full-time role then?
Yes.
If training goes well, and they do a good job, shadow. Okay.
And
So where would you fund this out of?
This would be CNR tax. We currently have a part-time,
That maintenance, right?
yes,
so you have to move that money
No.
from maintenance to council,
Use it.
but, or you'll find a way to move that money that's
Right.
already been appropriated for it.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay. I'd be happy to, I'll make the motion that we approve a temporary part-time position pending county council approval.
Mhm.
To work 28 hours maximum per week to learn from the administrative assistant at community corrections.
And is that role a co-op? You know?
I knew you were gonna ask that.
I
Looked it up.
I can go look.
Actually, I have it right here.
I guess I'll amend my
Yes.
approval to say that this person would be,
So probably co-op 3.
I just have COMA on here. I don't have 1, 2, 3.
Be a co-op 2 though.
and then whenever they move to the full-time, it'd be
Yeah,
another one
yeah, then we put it up to the full-time.
to be created for Comont 2 as a part-time person.
Second.
Any other discussion? Anything else that we need to know before we vote? Mr. Rhodes, anything else? Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So I guess at this point, you're just going to be preparing for this position.
What's the earliest I can post that?
We can go ahead and post that,
Council doesn't meet till the 23rd.
You just have to.
So a higher date would be effective 24th, basically.
Anybody you interview, you'll have to say, there may not be a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The probability, that's pretty low, but.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
No.
How are things going with this facility?
Great. Roof's finished, looks great. Hopefully that takes care of some leaks, but yes, everything's going well.
We just approved that 2 weeks ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they went that quickly.
Alright.
And anything else?
He has an iPhone that needs to be declared surplus.
It's a Samsung. The iPhone is the one that we just got.
You bought the iPhone.
Yeah.
I just wrote down the iPhone.
Whose was that?
The drug court.
And are there other items that are surplus?
The typewriter.
Okay, we'll do that at the end.
Validators from Terry. And do them all at the same time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Matt.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks, Mr. Rhodes. Whoa! All right, let's, I believe that's the final main item on there. Do you have miscellaneous items?
The surplus.
Well, let's do surplus, then we have a typewriter that,
Panasonic typewriter with a monitor, it's back here, there's no ink, doesn't even work, they haven't used it in years, they just wanna be able to print it.
that and a phone, and you have a
And then I
purpose
have
for the
the
phone.
phone, normally we could take the phones and donate them to Crisis Connection.
So if you remember, in the past, I've tried to find a way to get us paid on those old phones, and they said, we'll just keep them. We won't charge you to take them. So they promised to pay up front, and they said they would, so they.
Well, and sometimes we can trade them in to Verizon, but sometimes they don't even work. So,
What version is it, a 7?
I don't even, it's not an iPhone, it's just a
Oh.
Samsung set. We
Yeah.
got a new iPhone for them.
Okay.
And then the treasurer has 3 validators, they don't need in the closet, so they have some on their counter that they use.
So I've discussed this with them. Generally, the purpose would be if there's a miscellaneous item in a department that they don't need, they take a picture of it, they send it out. They need it. Validators, nobody else will have a use for it. The typewriter doesn't work, and the phone, and then giving it to Crisis Connection, probably the best option. So I would move that we approve the declaration that these items are all surplus items to be disposed of.
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Sometimes these things are work than they're work. These items, but that's so.
They're still owned by the public, so we have to go through the process.
Somebody brought a whole bunch of monitors over to me. Most of them don't have stands, so I don't know. Somebody can reuse them unless they have the stands, so we'll repurpose them.
You've been doing a great job for a long time,
We'll try.
milking every
Sometimes
last
we're
day out of them.
Computer graveyard over there, but we try. That's so.
All right, so you gave us, each one of these. Did you provide this or did somebody else? The solar.
Alex Hole wanted me to hand out to everybody.
Okay, so Mr. Hull is a council member, he handed us a, item on solar projects, and this looks like it's from IndianaPrairieFarmer.com. They have a news watch service, and so it talks about, Mr. Sharon, did you get one of these?
I did not.
Okay, I'll have mine when we're done. It says, I highlighted a couple parts of it here. They're talking about what solar projects, some issues that other counties have had. So this is White County. And so the things that I highlighted were just that, this is where I think we've stood in Du Bois County, as landowners are exercising their rights by signing land into these projects. But that there's other residents that have concerns. Some of those concerns have to do with commercial solar energy systems, such as the ones that are coming to Du Bois County, having sufficient setbacks. So that was just an area that I guess they were saying that be sure that we have a sufficient setback to protect the non-participating homeowners. I think we've done that in our ordinance. So they were suggesting that we have these solar companies get additional approvals from people such as, here they're saying the County Soil and Water Conservation District, IDEM, Army Corps of Engineers. So I guess that's something that we don't really do. And then they say that they are requiring the companies to have a 24-hour toll-free phone number for complaints and concerns. So I don't know that we have a 24-hour number, but we did
We required some contact information be posted on site so they know how to get a hold of folks. And I can't remember if that was built into the decommissioning agreement, I think that's where it was at, or the road use agreement.
We had it built into something where people in the Duff area, if they have a concern, they know how to get.
Correct. And then whenever Crossline, I think we added it to theirs as well.
Then the second one, so that was about White County. The next one says Posey County. They're trying to stay ahead of the solar game, it says here. They have the decommissioning bond requirements, so do we. One thing that they have in here, Mr. Chair, I don't remember if we did this, but they have that the decommissioning bond is reviewed every 5 years to ensure it matches current prices and inflation. Do we have that?
It does. It's basically where are we at to decommission it after 5 years? Does it cost more now than it would have cost when it started, or is it less? And an engineer is supposed to believe come through. I don't know if it's 5-year term, but it is reviewed periodically during the life of the project.
The final thing I thought was interesting, again, was to make sure that the topsoil doesn't leave the area. That it stays, that the landowner has the right to state they don't want the topsoil either disturbed, if they want to have that agreement. But again, that's between the, to me, that's
I
between
would
the.
think that'd be part of their lease agreement. Our decommissioning agreement requires them to return it to the same or better state and what its original intended purpose was prior to being a solar field.
Which would include, if it had topsoil, it would have
It
topsoil.
would be agricultural use. And I believe that was at least the top 3 feet would be restored to its original state.
So I don't know if either of you had a chance to look at that yet, but those are my thoughts on it. Anybody else have thoughts? At this time?
Same thing, just kind of underline the same topics you just went over.
I think we are pretty on board with the things that they're saying that if they do over again, they would do, or that they're trying to change.
With regards to the setbacks, I know some places would have larger setbacks. We're just following what the state had set down in their statute as far as our requires setbacks.
He just worked out.
I know some places with planning and zoning, they would require a greater setback than what the state set for.
Okay, so that's that. Mr. Schneider, do you have anything else from the county attorney position here?
I do not.
Anything from the auditor? Commissioner Stefano?
No, sir, I'm good.
Commissioner Hosner?
Just want to say we will have a sewer district meeting later today.
So is this one for the, so full board? For those, okay. What time they have in there? Is that something that I would be involved in, or you're talking about the people that were appointed?
People that were appointed.
Okay, I was thinking they were in a week or two, so I don't know.
22. When,
Do I have the wrong date?
I was gonna say, I don't know.
Today, 11. I'm like, it'll be the first time I put something on the phone wrong.
Because on our update that he sent on Friday, I thought he said they were trying to plan between 2 days. And
Yeah, it was a Monday. Oh, my bad. Oh, wait a minute. Where am I at here?
Monday, September 16th, or Wednesday, September 18th?
Yeah, you're right, you're right.
that'd be a short meeting.
Okay, yeah, not today.
Do you guys have a room reserved?
They're still,
We're still working on
they're
it.
not set, yes. It says Monday, September 16th is preferred and the 18th is an alternate.
Because I informed them that it's commissioner meeting day. I said the two of you and myself would have a hard time making 11 o'clock, depending on what our agenda is.
So they what previously suggested at 8:11?
No. It's 16th, I said, because 16th is a meeting day.
Oh, right.
That's why I was saying 11 to 1, depending on the agenda, we may not be able to make that right away anyways.
Currently, I have until 9.
So 9.
So the,
9, so that's after 9.
again, we had given them some thoughts several weeks ago, and we're 3 weeks into us giving them our thoughts, and I think they've done a good job of keeping us current, of keeping action moving on this. If you've been getting any of these, I'll have to send these to you.
Yeah,
So the last 3 weeks, they've been giving us updates. these are the areas we're working on, here's what's coming up, progress. Because that's something I asked of them,
I
that
think it's a good,
it seems like there's nothing going on, please tell us weekly what you're doing for our
I
project.
think it's a fantastic.
And they've met my expectations. So whenever we met with them, I said, here's what I expect, tell me if my expectations are out of line. And they acted like they weren't, and they've been meeting them since then, so.
Because I had called Eve a couple weeks ago, played phone tag a little bit, and then died. I haven't actually, so.
Okay, so I will get those two, I'll send you the last 3 weeks, so you know where we're at,
Appreciate
and
it.
I'll ask them to keep you on. Let's see if there's anything else there.
So weekly progress updates?
Yes. And one of those, Commissioner Hostetter brought up, the DuBois County Regional Sewer District Board is to meet this week, or this month, I apologize. They're just there's a number of people, so to get everybody on the same date takes a little effort. Are they planning on doing it during the day, or are they doing so?
Both of them are during the day. As
Yeah, they're both 11 to 1, right?
Are you gonna do it to make those?
If it's a meeting day, I should be able to do it. If they choose the Wednesday, it's gonna be a
Well,
lot.
I can inform them that as of right now, the schedules.
I say if we can do it at 11 on the 16th.
Well, I can mark that on here and just say.
Be done by 11, and I'll make sure to send her that email. I'll put a note,
On the 16th.
we discussed it today, that we'll make sure we are done by 11.
But then too, if we have a number of board members, how many of them are gonna be able to take off?
But I've had, there's been one or two so far that responded that they can make it. I don't know, that's 7, it's a 2 of 7, so we got a few that had not, so.
And so that's a regional sewer district board.
Yes.
Do we have to advertise that kind of stuff, or not advertise, but notify?
For the board, yeah, it'd be a public board. Just a 48-hour notice.
Where's it at?
I don't think we have locations.
Probably in this building, right?
I do.
You think up here, downstairs?
I
Probably
think
downstairs.
Everybody don't have it.
Oh, yeah, send me. What room's open?
On the 16th? There's something in here at 1 o'clock.
Can you reserve the downstairs room?
Um,
That way we have an option.
The conference room below us is free.
Okay, let's do the conference room below us. You might want to tentatively schedule it for Wednesday as well, just in case.
So 11 to 1 both days.
Yes. I would put Monday down and then have Wednesday as a tentative. I would hope we'll know this week yet.
Well, I mean, somebody's gonna have to let me know so I can advertise, or else it notify. Shoot.
Okay, the last thing I have, this will be Mr. Schneider, you can tell me what we're gonna need to do. We're gonna have at some point, probably by the end of the year, we'll have to do a request for proposals for professional services for our comprehensive plan that we'll work on next year.
Okay.
And, I have an idea of what I think the cost would be, and I'm sure it's over the $50,000 threshold for, I don't think that matters, really, because it's not a physical item.
It's not, it's a service.
It's a service, so just if you have any guidance on what, I have a list of a few companies, 3 companies that I know do the work, so we may want to send letters to them to say, we are soliciting your services, here you come give us a presentation, but is there do we put something in the newspaper, or do we put something?
I think we would advertise it, but we can also solicit it out, similar to what we did with, like our QAW way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Send it to certain people we knew were involved in the field, but we'd also posted it.
It's good to cover your back, post it online, or on the public, and then I've always had the best success sending direct emails or letters to consultants.
Who we know are engaged in those services,
Correct.
Who puts the
RFP together.
RFP and the ad?
We would put the ad together.
Usually,
Brent and
you volunteer and break yourself. Okay.
I can work on the ad, Brent, I can do it with paper too.
With the SS4A, we did not have to post it online because the SS4A was something different, but it's good to do it. But then I do have a template when we ask for our RFPs for the SS4A.
What's that?
Safe Streets for All, and then the comprehensive plan will be very similar to that.
And there's another local
You said you
unit.
have an RFP that you use for that?
I'll check with the local unit who's done this recently too and ask for theirs.
I was gonna do the same with them, or
You do that one and I'll do this one.
Okay.
Again, we're not doing all this
Yeah,
month.
great. I don't know that great.
Okay, any other business from anybody?
I just want to let you guys know before, we've been having some issues with it, sending out our Barracuda's been blocking. When you go into Know Before to do your training, it sends you a link. Well, that link's being captured by Barracuda, so we're working with Know Before to undo that. So people could do their last month's training, but if they didn't get it done in time, whatever broke, and then there's a few people that can't finish it, so hopefully Friday night they got it resolved, but I don't know, I haven't seen it yet. So this month's training, I moved back a week, so it'll start next week. Hopefully we'll have this resolved by then. So if you're hearing something about it, that's why.
Do you know what she's talking about?
Not exactly.
So now if you go to Know Before, that's supposed to teach you about not doing dumb things on the internet or on the computer.
We do a monthly training. If you don't do that training, it keeps reminding you to do it. Well, somewhere from last month's first Tuesday to this time, that link broke and Barracuda started capturing those and not letting the people get the email to do the training.
So on normal websites, what you do is you go in and you sign in, you put Chad Blessinger, my username, my password is I Love County Government, and then it lets you in. This one, you click the link, you go there, and it says, check your email, we sent you a password, or we sent you.
We sent you a link, a password.
So that's what's getting blocked. So now you'll go to the site, you can't just log in with a username and a password.
Because-
You have to go back and get this
When we
email.
first set it up, people would do a password and then they'd forget their password.
Right.
So we said, let's do it passwordless, to let people just get in this way. Well, now Barracuda's catching it. It's our security span part of it.
Yeah.
So it's been a little bit of a challenge this month. But when things upgrade, things happen.
True.
So you won't get your training out today.
Any other business?
Nope.
We'll close the meeting.